Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United Stand. Good evening. The first late show that I'm hopefully not going to be doing. I mean, not the last. I don't want to be doing. But to get on into the news, it's looking like MATHEUS Cunha. We're going to be putting a bid in for this player. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't know too much about him, and I'm here to hopefully give you a bit of info about what's going on, about some tweets, some news, and the possibility of this deal happening. Now, what do I know personally about this player? He's a young player. He's only 23. He's around 6 foot. He's right-footed, and ultimately, in my opinion, I actually think this is one of the better options we've been linked with. I will get on into the price tag, and the fee that it has been kind of linked, and how I don't agree with how much that is. We're talking around the 50 million euro mark. So what's that? About 35, 40 million pounds. But again, we can talk about that. We can talk about that a little bit later. But MATHEUS Cunha, for me, in comparison, when you do compare him to the likes of other players we've been linked with, you're talking Jamie Vardy, you're talking Alvaro Morata. Even obviously, we're not obviously going to go for him now. Arnautovic, he's one of the better options that we're looking at here. And although I don't agree with the price tag, I think yeah, he's a better option. He's younger, he's better. I genuinely think he is a better player than these guys, and will be a better long-term option, right? And we can get into some the comparing of the stats between Jamie Vardy and Morata and Cunha. We can get onto that. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, or the comments not down below, to the side of me, it looks like. But yeah, about what you guys think about Cunha, and if you're interested in this player, pretty much. If Ten Hag doesn't have any power to get rid of the bad apples, what's the point? Old players in okay, I'm not really too sure what you mean, but I mean Ten Hag does have power. Look, let's be honest. He doesn't have as much power as we'd obviously like, but he is getting a say to some degree. He doesn't have much power. Okay, let's face it. He hardly has any power, right? But back to Cunha. I think for me, what I've got written down here is 50 million does seem a little too steep. I think the fact that we've been told pretty much all summer long, or for the vast majority of the past 2-3 weeks, that we didn't want to go in or bid for anyone with a substantial fee, because we didn't want to jeopardize the fact that we're still wanting Frankie de Jong. We don't want to eat into that budget. So the fact that we're now being linked, and we can bring up a few tweets on screen right now as I read them off, but the fact that we're being linked with this guy, and there might be a bid coming within the next few hours or day or two, it's I don't really know what to make of it. But yeah, we've got something from TalkSport here. Manchester United are close to signing Atletico forward MATHEUS Cunha for around 50 million. As I said, don't really agree with the figure, but it kind of is what it is at this point. It's not my money, and I think at the end of the day, we do need an attacking option. I think, as I say before, he's going to be better than Jamie Vardy. We can compare the stats right now. Actually, we'll get into it. So we'll go off Cunha's stats from last season. He played 29 games. He scored 6 goals and got 7 assists. Straight off the top of the bat, it doesn't look ideal, right? I mean, stats can be very, very misleading, but I don't think it looks too great. But you got to take into consideration that he did only play just over 1,000 minutes. So I think it's averaging just under 30 minutes a game, which is nothing really. I think we worked it out off camera, and it works out that he's played just over 11 full games, and to get 6 goals and 7 assists, that's pretty decent if you ask me. That's 13 goal contributions in 11 games. That's pretty good, right? And we can compare that to Morata, who played 35 games last season, scored 9 goals, got 7 assists. So obviously 16 goal contributions in just over 2,300 minutes. And then you've got the big boy, Jamie Vardy, who played 25 games last season, getting 15 goals and 2 assists. This is just in the domestic leagues, by the way. I'm pretty sure this isn't kind of cups and everything combined. But Vardy did play 1,805 minutes. Now, for me, the kind of differences in these players. Obviously, Vardy is and Vardy obviously took penalties for Leicester as well last season. So you do have to take these things into account, guys. So yeah, I think the one positive about Jamie Vardy is that he is Premier League proven. You do know what you're going to get with him. You're going to get the runs in behind. I spoke about it on the morning show this morning. You're going to get those runs in behind. And yeah, as I say, you know what you're going to get. But he is obviously the older option. I believe he's around 35, 36, that kind of region. So yeah, what's he going to come in on a 1-year deal as well? Very much a stopgap. Kind of the same as Morata, I think, although Morata is 28, 29. But again, on that kind of older side, in my opinion, maybe didn't fail in the Premier League, but didn't show for me the promise that he could deliver in the Premier League, and didn't last very long at Chelsea either. And yeah, we can to my opinion on Cunha, I think he's versatile. As I say, he can play. He's mainly that centre forward, but can play anywhere across the front three, the left wing, right wing position. He's young, 23. He's obviously got a lot of time ahead of him, and Ten Hag can possibly mould him into the player that he wants, and the style of striker that he wants to play with. I think the only potential risk is because he is young. Again, you look at it from the flip side, is because he is young and the fee is looking upwards of 50 million euros. That is a potential risk. You've got to take these things into consideration. What is this guy going to be the future number 9, as you say, of Manchester United? I'm not too sure. Obviously, that is when kind of Ronaldo, whether it's this summer, next summer, the summer after, whenever Ronaldo does leave, and we don't know what's going on with Martial in the near future. But I think yeah, ultimately, I think this is a pretty good opportunity for us. I mean, again, I don't really agree on the price, but at this point, as I said this morning, it's crunch time, and beggars can't be choosers. I mean, as I say, it is definitely something for Ten Hag to build on. This guy's young. I imagine he's hungry, and I think the fact is Atletico aren't keen on letting him go. But again, I think when an offer like this is put on the table, I think that teams like that can't really say no. And we can hopefully bring a tweet up on the screen from Fabrizio saying Manchester United had direct talks with Matheus Cunha's agent. As with many others in the last few days, no agreement reached with Atletico Madrid as things stand. Atletico want more than 50 million euros to sell Cunha this summer. And I think the reason they obviously want that significant amount of money is because they only brought him in last summer, right? Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly the amount. I'm going to say it was like 25 million, not, and I think him only being there for a year, he's put up half decent numbers in comparison to the minutes he has played. And I think maybe he doesn't necessarily warrant that, but Atletico have obviously spent money on this guy and only got a year's worth out of his contract. They're going to want a significant amount of money back from him. And I think, yeah, again, I'd love to see your guys' comments on what you think of Cunha. Obviously, the price tag, as I say, and as you guys are coming in here, 50 million is an expensive price tag for Cunha, and I agree with you. For 50 million, I'd get Pau Torres instead. I mean, look, guys, there's too many positions to fix in this transfer window. We've got to make that clear and kind of get that. I've got to get it in my head. There's so many positions: right back, centre mid, probably 2 centre mids, forward, even a backup goalkeeper. That we've got to take the priority into account. And Erik Ten Hag is obviously thinking the priority is the attacking option. And it's strange because I remember at the start of the window, we almost fluttered. It was we were going to get a striker, and then it changed, and it was we're not going to get a striker, and we almost went to the wing option. And now, as I say, we're almost dilly-dallying around, and we're as I say, getting to that point now where we need players in. I said this morning, we need not even rotation options in the sense that these guys are going to come in and be bit part players, but we need strength and depth. And I think that is one thing that we very, very much struggle with. And you never know. Matheus Cunha could come in. Obviously, Martial's just returned back from training, I believe, today. Returned to training, I believe, today. So I think, yeah. I mean, it's a very, very interesting one. I mean, you, there's comments coming in saying, why is the midfield being neglected again? And I wouldn't actually take this, just because this is, let's be honest, this has come out of absolute nowhere. Obviously, I mean, I saw it. Literally, probably, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour before I'm going live here, and obviously it has come out of nowhere. But sometimes these signings are the best ones. They just come out of nowhere. All of a sudden, something happens, and it's done within 24, 48 hours, and it baffles me because what, how far down the pecking order was Cunha? Did he all of a sudden become available, or did he? I mean, it's not even like he's become available. Atletico are asking for more than 50 million, 50 plus million euros here. So it's not even like he's being offered. It's very much they want a significant amount of money. So I'd be very surprised if Ten Hag wanted this guy from the start, and I think we'd very much know about it if he did want him from the start. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm quite happy about the possibility of us signing this guy. And again, he might not hit the ground running, but I think that strength in depth is a very, very valuable asset to have in the Premier League. Would you rather get Gakpo or Cunha? I mean, personally, I'm just going to say Cunha just because about how little I know about Gakpo. But again, I might stand corrected. I think obviously I'm not sure how you compare the Eredivisie to the La Liga, but I mean, I think personally as well that Cunha he's put up half decent numbers. You think he's only played just over 1,000 minutes, which is what 11 games, as I said, and he's putting up like 13 goal contributions in those games. And obviously, it takes a lot to adapt to the Premier League. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot to adapt to and a lot to change, but he did also, I think it was Hertha Berlin he played for before Atletico Madrid. And in that season, he played 27 games, 7 goals and 5 assists. So, I mean, for a forward player, he's you don't sometimes see, or you don't usually see strikers or centre forwards rack up. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not an amazing amount of assists, but 5 assists as a forward is not too bad. And I mean, I think the ultimate thing which separates him from Vardy and Morata is the fact that he is a lot younger than them. There's obviously pros and cons. Well, I don't think there's any actually pros to Morata, but I think there are pros to both Vardy and Cunha. And I think the biggest pro for me with Cunha is the fact that he is young. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be wanting to impress that new manager. Because look, as much as the state that Manchester United is in, and it doesn't look like it can get any worse, but don't get me wrong, it can get a lot worse. Just because Liverpool are obviously dropping points as well. They're playing a lot better than we are. But I think the fact that we're going for, well, we seem to have switched now, and off the back of the fan reaction of the Arnautovic and maybe this Morata thing, you never know. We might end up getting Morata as well, and I very, very much hope not. But I think yeah, we need that switch, and we need to give Ten Hag a significant amount of say in who we go out there and sign. Okay, if we can't go out there and it's very clear that we can't deliver on these sort of plan A options, being the Antonys, you don't know what's going to happen with De Jong, and the even like Timber and stuff when we were first in for him, and your Nunez and stuff. I think you've got to deliver, even though this is and could be plan E, F, whatever. You've got to deliver on it. If he wants him, he wants him. You've got to deliver on it, whether you kind of like it or not, I think. And yeah, I mean, look, I just think in comparison to who we have been and are being linked with in Vardy, Morata, there's probably others that I can't think of. I think he's the best. He's almost the best of a bad bunch. Which obviously isn't a great saying, but I think yeah, it's obviously a difficult situation that we're in, and we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. As I said, we very, very much need players, and it's got to the point where there's 2.5 weeks left or whatever, 2 weeks left, and we're scraping the barrel. We need players. And these are the type of players that we're going to be linked with, for the next 2 weeks. It is going to be absolute mayhem, guys. Don't get me wrong. It is going to be, deadline day is going to be chaos. I'm not sure what day deadline day falls on, but I'll be prepared. There's probably going to be I'm not even kidding, 10 to 15 live shows with the amount of people that we're going to have bids in for or be properly, favourably linked to, etc. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm here. I'm all for it. But we can bring another tweet up on screen from Mail Sports. Atletico Madrid offered Alvaro Morata to Manchester United, but Matheus Cunha fits the profile that United would prefer. Yeah, that is from Simon Jones of Mail Sport. And I think actually, if Manchester United are thinking like that, I think they've got it right. I think Cunha does fit the profile better than Morata. I think not only does he fit the profile, I think the fact that surely Ten Hag will know that Morata has played in the Premier League before and will know that he wasn't the greatest of signings for Chelsea and didn't have the, kind of wow factor. Again, and this is another way to look at stats, right? I think if you look at his stats, it wasn't too bad, but I think he just didn't work. Let's be real. He just didn't work at Chelsea, and a lot of strikers don't tend to work at Chelsea. But yeah, I think he just didn't work, and the possibility of Cunha over him excites me. Gallagher, would that work? Howard says, in terms of Conor Gallagher, you on about there? I mean, ultimately, it's not going to happen. He's not going to come to Manchester United. I mean, it's interesting. Liverpool misfiring, Manchester United can win. I mean, I was speaking to Draw off air just now, and I think because obviously Liverpool have just dropped points. If we go and beat Liverpool next Monday, we actually go above them in the league. But that just don't give me hope. Don't give me hope. This lad looks awful. Looks like Bambi with a ball. Says Russell. I mean, I'm not sure what highlights you're watching, but again, highlights are very, very misleading, right? You can't, you can happily go on Google and type in Matheus Cunha highlights, and look. You look at Nunez, right? The highlights of him, even against Liverpool, bagging goals, and 1 minute you're the hero, the next you're the villain. Look at Haaland. He looked unstoppable that first game of the season. He goes and plays against Bournemouth and has 8 touches, and everyone's speaking about it. Everyone's got very much a goldfish memory when it comes to football, and they always want to speak about what happened today, what happened yesterday, and not kind of the overarching aspect of a player's season or career. It's a very, very long season, and who cares if we could sign Cunha, he could have 5 touches a game but score a goal every game. Who cares? He could have 1 touch a game. I don't care if that touch goes in the back of the net. I don't care. Same as Ronaldo. Ronaldo could have, or anyone could have, an awful game but win us the game. Ultimately, I don't care. I don't care how bad they played. They scored us that goal, whether they like it or not, and it's resulted in a positive result. If they score a goal in the 90th minute and we've lost 4-1, then yeah, I mean, I don't care. Cunha is a baller, can play right wing striker, left-footed as well. I think is he not right-footed? I'm pretty sure he's right-footed. But again, yeah, he can play. He can play, as I said. He's versatile. He can play across the left, the right hand as a centre forward as well. So again, options. That's what it comes down to. Ten Hag needs options, and I think if you can kill 3 positions with 1 player, that again allows that fluidity and to build that positive relationship. Look, we know Sancho and Rashford aren't firing at the minute by any means. They're playing below average. Like we're talking like a 4.5 out of 10 over the last 2 games on average. And if you could bring in a player who can mainly play that centre forward role, but when someone gets injured or when someone needs a rest or etc., this guy can come in and play left wing, play right wing, and do a decent job. And as I say, numbers are everything. Good player, yeah. I mean, I think again, it's a hard one to say. I think the as I say, the main thing that attracts me is the fact that he is young, and the possibility is that he's got more room to grow. You very much know what you're going to get with the likes of Morata and Vardy, but it's almost the unknown that excites me here. The fact that he is almost an unknown aspect to a lot of people in the chat. I imagine he's an unknown talent to me, and yeah, that is quite exciting. I think the the fact that he, as I say, is unknown. He excites me, and I imagine the fact that if Man United do go out there and spend the 50 million euros, it is a statement to some extent, but yeah, it's just a little bit more exciting than what we've kind of been linked with in the past. We could bring another tweet up on screen here from Talksport. There is no swap deal with Cristiano Ronaldo and Matheus Cunha. Atletico Madrid are, however, interested in him. I'm not sure how much to believe in this. Obviously, there's not going to be any swap deal. That's obviously not going to happen. It's pretty self-explanatory. Why would there be a swap deal? And I don't really understand this whole Ronaldo kind of talk when it comes to, why would you swap Ronaldo for Cunha? You'd only do a swap deal if you were getting sure, I'd only swap him if we were getting 5 players and they were all sick. It doesn't really make sense. But I think it says we'll go back to the tweet. It says that Atletico Madrid are, however, interested in him, and again, I'm not sure how much to believe in that, because obviously the fans literally, when they were linked with him, the fans properly revolted. Right, there was banners up at the I can't remember what game it was, whether it was against Manchester United or not, but there was banners up at the game. There was all sorts. They made it very, very clear. And this guy is obviously Ronaldo is a Real Madrid legend, and Atletico Madrid are interested. I don't know. I don't know how much I believe in that. I think I'm not saying that they're not interested, but I mean, again, weirder things have happened. But the fact that they said, or it seemed very clear that they weren't interested, I'd be very surprised if a team like Atletico Madrid went against kind of the overarching and the overall fan opinion. I think they'd be very, very against it. I think ultimately he'd win them over during the season. I think he'd win them over and be a very good player for them. He'd be a very good player for anyone really. I think that he's an unreal talent, and yeah, I don't blame him for kind of wanting to leave really. But the Man United board have been made aware that Matheus Cunha is willing to make a move to Old Trafford despite joining Atletico last summer. As I said, that's from Simon Jones at the Mail Sport. As I said, he did only join last summer, so that probably is the reason why Atletico are wanting such a significant fee for him. And obviously, with there only being 2.5 weeks left of the transfer window, they're maybe not necessarily wanting a replacement, but again, I spoke about this on this morning show. They're going to want a significant fee for him. That he's going to have 4 years left on his deal, and they're going to want that money. Nunez is coming to United. There was actually talks of Matheus. I saw something earlier about Matheus Nunez from Sporting, I believe, which would actually be interesting. But I don't think there's much into it. and again, I think a lot of people. Someone's actually said Osimhen in there as well, and we're not linked to him, but again, another good option. Cunha is an attacking midfielder, not too good as a striker, says John. That's interesting you say that, man, because actually, when I first heard of Cunha, I did think that he was a sort of number 10, but kind of researching about him and seeing what he was more about, it does come up that he's almost playing as that kind of almost João Felix false 9 kind of role. And again, I'm not sure. I can't imagine Cunha's that type of player, comparing him to Vardy now, that gets in behind and runs the channels and presses. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure. I'd imagine Cunha is a more tricky kind of forward. But again, and I think I saw somewhere that, if we were to get this player for 50 million, the last 50 million we spent on a Brazilian player didn't end up too well. So yeah, it'd be very, very interesting. Why couldn't we do this deal 2 months ago? Says Nate, and I agree with you, man. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier. Is if this deal is, kind of all of a sudden emerged, like what option is this to Ten Hag? How far down the pecking order was he, or was he always an option? Has he only just become an option? And again, you've got to question this with the board and the options that Ten Hag has made available. This guy, and it actually makes it worse. I think if this guy is we're talking EFG, and he's still 50 million. I mean, surely he can't be. Surely, but then again, why would you why would you go, okay, let's go and get Anthony, let's say, as plan A. Don't get him, but then skip to going to get like some random, Arnautovic type player who's plan flipping Z, and then, oh no, we don't want him because the fans don't want him, and then go back up to like B or C. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I really, really, really don't get it. But there's not much to understand about Manchester United, right? And that's the thing. I don't think we're actually going to be ready for kind of the twists and turns of this transfer window, the remaining time that we do have left. I think there's just going to be so much nonsense, but at the same time, to some degree and aspect, there's no smoke without fire. I don't know why we don't dive into the Portuguese league. Player after player keep proving themselves in the Premier League, plus they're cheap, says the world of Louis. And again, man, I appreciate your opinion. The only thing, obviously, the kind of thing we see with players from the Portuguese league, they usually go to lower teams and don't get me wrong, they're going to go there. The likes of Wolves, who like to sign Portuguese talent, they obviously go there and get a lot of game time and a lot of good coaching, which is what Manchester United players have not had for the past 2-3 years. And we're talking going back to Mourinho here, and even under him, it would have been very much defensive coaching and very negative coaching. So it's a very different type of coaching, and I think Eric Ten Hag can bring out the positive coaching for the likes of Sancho, Rashford, and all the new guys who are there. But I agree with you in the sense that they're proving themselves, but it's very much hindsight, right? And hindsight is a wonderful thing, as the saying goes. I think a lot of players, we could go and sign someone from the Portuguese league, and they can have an absolute unreal first season, very much kind of like Bruno did, or first half, and the next one very good, and they it's very difficult. It's very difficult to look at something after it's happened when it's not to do with you. How I kind of look at or try and think of Maguire is almost like Eric Dyer. My dad is a Tottenham fan, and he really didn't like Eric Dyer. And now all of a sudden, last season and so far this season, Eric Dyer's like the best thing since sliced bread, because he's been put with Romero in a complete new system, and it suits him, right? And all these players, don't get me wrong, at the minute look totally and utterly crap. No matter what system they're in, they don't work hard, etc. But there's different systems and different formations, etc., that suit various different players. And I think ultimately, if Cunha does sign, I think it would be a better option than the likes of Vardy, Morata, Arnautovic, and the ones that we've gone for in the past. Cavani, yes, was a success for the first season. He was obviously riddled with injury for his second season, but the Agalos, the Falcaos, and etc. I think the 23-year-old option excites me a lot more than going for a late 20s, early to mid 30s option. And and I think that's the main end to it. Look, guys, I appreciate it. It's going to be a short one. I'm gonna need to head off to bed. It's been a very long day, but I appreciate you guys for joining me. Thank you very much for the super chat. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for the shows.